pair of professors that within the past 10 years have published articles about dice and chance and done statistical analysis of, you know, how you would hold dice, how they're likely to roll, what sort of surfaces you should roll them on, things like that. So
you're going to bring your own surface to roll on?
Well, if I did bring a surface, it would be probably a little bit different than what people typically bring with their dice boxes.
Because it would be a magnet?
Well, that is another idea, but not part of the research.
Hey, you know, just go ahead and let me make sure I got the right mic. Yeah, just go ahead and, you know, you hit the button and then it rolls what you want to roll.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like Pete's Dice Tower.
Well, see, I was telling Chris, I'm like, you know, if you get like these average dice, that you're not gonna spike either. And he's like, I'm okay with that. I was like, dude, spiking's what makes the game awesome.
I don't want to fucking spike, because who gives a shit if you spike on a dice roll of like 4 dice on a goal? Like,
that's not the spike you're looking for. I'm talking about spikes like you're killing a motherfucker.
Okay, well that's fine, but I'm not gonna go into models anyway when I feel like I need some crazy fucking spike.
I've seen you go into plenty of crazy things.
That's not true. I play very conservatively.
That's definitely not true.
I play very technically like Michael Klein.
All right, y'all shut your cock holsters. I'm going to start this intro.
Cock holster.
Wow. Way to go, Stephen Colbert.
Well, I've been doing a little research, and I found out you need to train falcons.
Oh, that's probably why it attacked me.
He has completed my training course, as have I his. Turns out falcons are hunting birds. They catch mice, rats, moles, voles, and chipmunks.
What's a vole?
Don't know. Let's find out. Falcon, bring us back a vole. Sha-sha.
No.
Welcome to Rage Quit Wire. We're going to go hunting some voles with our new falcons that are coming out.
Fuck that guy up.
Got Pete with Chris and our mountain man John. Oh, Jesus Christ.
And so it begins.
You need to have that on like you have to have some ability to play that while you're in game at a tournament. You take somebody out and just hit that.
Done.
The good news is I haven't heard anybody complain about the soundboard, so I mean, I guess nobody like really hated it.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I mean, there's always somebody to bitch on the internet.
That's true.
Not about me. It's all about you, buddy.
Well, that's true.
If Chris was doing the soundboard, then we'd get a ton of complaints.
You know what? We should start doing like experiments and like take ideas and like assign some to like me, even if they're not, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And then see if people still bitch about what is happening.
Yeah, which I
That's
mean,
good research.
Because I really do think that I have like some targeted bitching.
Malice.
Haters gonna hate.
Haters is gonna hate.
That's for sure.
Believe that.
So we got a few things that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the new Falconer that just came out, even though she doesn't have a falcon. And then we are actually going to talk about who we think are the top 3 squaddies in the game currently. So we're not including veteran models just because they're not technically released yet. And then we got some other stuff that we're going to talk about, like tiers of certain guilds, because that was a question I put on Gubs today. And
yeah, I like that you guys tried to sandbag that shit.
What do you mean?
It was so clear that you and John were voting, so you were like, no nerf, no nerf, no nerf.
I almost voted bottom tier.
Low tier. You guys will see what we're talking about once we get to that section. So just before we get started with that, though, just had kind of a week going on here, and anything interesting? I know, John, you had a small release event that you did yesterday, so how'd that go?
It was fun. We didn't have many people. We only had 5. I played Alchemist. I think everybody there was playing a new team, like for the first time. We had 2 guys playing Rats for the first time, one playing Blacksmiths for the first time, and one guy playing like his 4th or 5th game of Guild Ball ever. All he had was the first box of Blacksmiths. And I played Alchemist and won it, but I mean, I was playing Rats with Smoke, so it was kind of bad for them.
Yeah, I thought you said you were more interested in Midas than Smoke.
No, not at all.
Oh, so you're the opposite. You like smoke better than Midas.
Yeah, screw scoring. I just want to make you burn.
I mean, Midas can like shove his fist in the air. I guess I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah, he can give you a golden fisting.
Yikes!
yeah.
You're the one that brought it up.
We did the release event, and I tried to cheat and get both Catalyst on the field at the same time.
So you guys did play with the sewer thing.
Oh, yeah. It was fun. Vitriol goes away. Here comes Vet Catalyst.
I think Vincent Kirchhoff said that he found an infinite loop where you could basically keep dropping greed into the sewer, and then a random player would keep popping up, and then you can just drop him again, and then keep popping players up.
Well, we decided not to be tools and break the rules, so...
That would have been funny, though.
It is funny. I mean, you could have like all the stuff on the board.
Yeah.
So, you had that going on. We kind of just been chilling since Spring Fling.
We had a battle of Axis and Allies this weekend.
We did. Chris almost rage quit Axis and Allies.
Fucking Joe. It's like he was fucking trying to sabotage the Allies. It was bullshit.
So I was the Central Powers, and Chris and Joe were the Allies. And I have a little more experience than them in Axis and Allies. And
that wasn't the problem. It was the fact that we made a plan, and then Joe decided to go rogue every fucking time.
Oh, Joe.
I'm just saying.
Well, I think he was tired of you bossing him around.
I think that he thought Russia was going to somehow survive, and they always get their asses kicked in that World War I edition.
Always like you've played it several times.
I've done my research.
Yeah?
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
And by research on this, I mean talking to you about it.
Man, you and your research.
I'm just saying. There's research to be had.
Russia just needs to hold the line. That's what they do.
Well,
and you just fed them to the wolves.
Apparently that doesn't happen when you decide to go into like some damn full states in the Balkans.
So, anyways, getting back into what we're talking about. So, we got this new model coming out for the Falconers.
Yes.
So this is the second model that came out. So we got Minerva, which of course is a goddess.
Okay.
Closely related to you know who?
I don't know who.
You really don't know who?
Who? Do you see
Really?
what I'm doing here?
Really?
Do you see what I'm doing?
Oh my god.
Don't worry, Owl's well.
So, talk about Athena anyways. Like, literally, if you look at kind of the pose, it's pretty much Athena straight on. So, looking at kind of what we got...
And Athena has an owl, that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
So, looking at kind of Minerva, let's go ahead and get your guys' input of kind of what you think about this new Falconer model.
All right, John, you start us off.
I really like tooled up from 6 inches away.
Okay, so tooled up 6 inches away.
Yeah, and you hit it on one, just like most, not tooled up, sorry, singled out. That's what I'm talking about. Hitting singled out on one is awesome. Most minutes results everywhere.
Well, you kind of do have a tooled up element. It's not exactly that, but the Harrier kind of gives you that.
Right. So you have the Harrier AOE tooled up again, but then you also have singled out. She's an amazing setup piece, and 2-inch melee is always awesome.
2-inch melee is awesome.
Yeah, and she's got a decent kick. You can only give her 3 influence, so I thought that was interesting. I was a little surprised. I mean, she has 2-inch melee, which is always, welcome. But I was really surprised to see a knockdown on this model. Like a knockdown on 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like a kind of decently, thin woman. I'm kind of wondering how she's going to... Maybe the owl knocks you down? I don't know.
She's got a big stick.
Yeah, I guess, she could just, trip you up with the stick. So I really like the back of her card. This is kind of one of the things that makes her really interesting to me, because when she makes an attack against a model with lower current hit points than its recovery level, so if they're halfway down or below, that the model gains +1 damage to the playbook results, which isn't crazy, but she does have 2 on 2. She has obviously 3 at the end, but it's non-momentous.
She could finish something off.
Oh, yeah, and then the cool thing is if she does, or actually I don't even think this has to be her activation. It just says each time an enemy model suffers the taken out condition while within the 6-inch aura, basically you can do a free command mate without spending momentum points.
That's awesome.
And it doesn't say during her activation, so I think as long as she's in the area and you kill somebody,
yeah, that's
that you get to do.
As long as she's as long as you're in that 6-inch aura.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool to see. So, I mean, not only is she kind of a nice setup piece, but then also she helps with taking stuff out. And she seems pretty efficient to me, which is what I like. I Spy is great. There's a lot of people giggling about, doing I Spy with singled out. So you get +4 attack on somebody, which could be ridiculous.
Yeah, but how are you going to get all these models in them? It's going to be so hard to get all these models in a 6.
So this is kind of what I was talking about when people were all, loving Harriet, where it's like, yeah, you get these awesome models, but who the hell are you taking out? And it's going to take a lot of tweaking to figure out who you're going to drop and who you're going to put in. Because both these models from the Falconers that can play for the Hunters are really interesting.
I'm just going to be playing Falconers, so I don't give a shit about that.
Okay.
But go ahead, Hunters players.
Yeah, I mean...
Who are you taking out?
That's the question.
So, my question for you guys is, I know one of you loves Matagi and the other loves Minerva, so go ahead and argue about that.
So, John, you like Matagi and I like Minerva.
I mean, I like them both, but I'm kind of leaning Matagi right now for my playstyle.
What's your playstyle for the listeners at home?
Stay away, control, don't get in a scrum.
So, run like a bitch? Is that kind of...
Sure.
Would that be a good assessment? Okay.
He says don't get in a scrum, but his bear always gets in a scrum.
Yeah, but when the bear gets done, there's no scrum anymore.
Yeah. So, I mean, I like her better just because if you look at kind of what she's doing, she does the same thing. She has Harrier, so, I mean, that's the same exact thing. And I like I Spy better than Snapfire because you know just as well as I do, John, that if you come across a bunch of tough hide models, Snapfire doesn't do shit.
Oh yeah,
and you're only rolling 1 die. Generally, people don't use Snapfire.
Yeah, I've rolled that 1 die against a tough hide model before.
Have you?
Oh yeah.
Just forgetting that. Oh, it doesn't do anything. Great.
No, just forgetting.
Yeah. So she has a knockdown. So she has a momentous knockdown, which is something hunters love because they don't have a lot of that. The only other early knockdown you have is Vet Hearn. So I could. Honestly, that Hearn might end up getting out of my list now, just because Minerva's there with that knockdown on 2, which is welcome in a hunter's list.
I might drop O'Hearn, which is tough for me.
Yeah, because if you look at I Spy is basically singled out, right? So it's like you don't need O'Hearn anymore unless you really love the teleporting mechanics. So
yeah. That's
another reason I love her. She basically gives singled out. Her kick, I like the 3.6 better than a 2.8, even though 2.8 can be useful.
Ooh, disagree.
One thing, well, I mean, the distance is always good, but I like the more reliable kick myself. The one thing I don't like about her is she's I would say a lot slower, but she's relatively slower. She's only a 5.7 as compared to Matagi's 6.9, so that's one thing I'm not too crazy about.
Yeah, I like 6.9. I like the faster model. I love what's it called? Hot shot. Being able to hit somebody from distance.
Yeah, hot shot is sexy as fuck on that model.
Hit somebody from distance and put a Harrier AOE down with never touching them, or make them bleed, or get your momentous dodge to go score that goal if you need to.
Yeah, the only thing I like though is that her Harrier is on 1 as opposed to 2.
True.
And they're both TAC 5, so she's got more boxes, so I like that too. 15 is better than 10.
Yeah. I mean, she definitely is a better setup piece and better damage dealer because, well, I don't know about better damage dealer because his moment is 2 on 2, but I like the speed because I like my fast models that can really cover a lot of ground.
Well, not only that, it's just I think that you also like that you can still keep Matagi at an arm's distance, whereas if you're going to start using Minerva's other tricks, you kind of got to get in there, and right. She doesn't have a natural reposition, so I can definitely see how that's a little makes you a little cautious when you look at her. 2-inch reach though I love. I mean, in a guild that doesn't have a lot of it, but yet we're starting to get more and more in hunters. Because what's that, the 4th 2-inch reach model now that they have access to?
Right. The problem is they keep pushing the other 2-inch model, 2-inch reach models off of your 10.
Yeah. I mean, so you could easily bring Minerva, you could bring Minx, and you could probably bring the bear in with those two. So you'd have 3 2-inch reach models.
Right.
And I think that's doable. I think you could run a team with that.
I do love the bear with the Harrier AoEs.
Well, because then you would have Harrier, and then you would have what's Minx's new character play there, where they're
Marked for death.
Yes, that's the one. So the bear gets an extra inch in damage, right?
Yep.
Or is it just inch? I can't remember.
Extra 2 inches on a charge.
Yeah. So, I mean, I like Minerva a lot. I like that she's a support piece, that she can, kind of help finish off models. She can, if you get it set up, you can do a free come on mate, which, like I said, I always love. So what are you in love with Mitagi? What makes you like, I like him better?
Speed and hot shot.
Okay.
Being able to attack the I know we talked about kind of, you got to kind of get close to put the Harrier AoE down, but you don't if you can hit them from range, get 2 hits on a certain model, throw your Harrier AoE out, and then get out before you move.
I just wish he was tax 6.
Yeah.
Because like tac 6 would make it way more reliable to get that guild ball, but tac 5, it can go bad quick.
True.
Like if you put only like 2 influence on him and you miss that hot shot to get the Harrier, then all of a sudden you're not getting the Harrier.
Well, then you throw a snapshot, hope you get 1 damage and bleed out.
Yeah, I guess. Be like, oh, I guess we'll make that model bleed. Hooray!
By the way, whoever's doing the artwork on these cards, it is the fucking tits.
Oh, I love it.
I like Mitagi's artwork. I definitely like Minerva too, with the owl kind of positioned over.
Yeah, it looks really, really good. Like
Minerva's
tribal tattoos and stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of sexy.
How dare you? She's a goddess.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, he has no problem worshiping.
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely think that this could be kind of a flavor of choice things. I mean, you and I play our hunters a little differently anyways, so I mean, it might make sense for you to use that and me to use this one. I mean, would you?
I mean, I could see them both being in my 10. Maybe.
Okay, would you think about running these 2 in your hunters lineup together, or do you think you only need 1?
Oh, I was about to ask you the same thing.
Okay, well,
it could be
you
fun.
first. I asked first.
It could be fun because, good lord, the bear just running all over the place. Maybe these 2. Well, if you put these 2, I never play a game without Jakar.
Yep.
Then you got one more.
So would you do that? The bear, these 2, and Yakar?
I don't know. I don't think that really fits.
I was gonna say, I don't see a scenario with hunters where you need both of these models.
No.
I think it's all about preference. I could see myself maybe with Minerva, if I'm going against a scoring team and I'm trying to get more takeouts, maybe I like the I Spy, so I bring her with the 2-inch reach. Maybe against a more killy team, I go with Mitagi just so I can kind of stay disengaged. So I can see both being useful, but I definitely don't see them playing at the same time because I think it's repetitive with what they do.
Yeah, my thing with Minerva is if I take her, I want to put 3 influence on her.
Yeah.
Because I want to get a Harrier AoE out, I want to get I Spy off, and I want to get the knockdown.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can also, if you think about it, you could also do Blessing too to try and get that off.
Oh, true.
So I mean, definitely don't want to forget about Blessing because you have 3 different models that can carry that now.
Very true.
Yep. So
I'm kind of interested to see how some of these other abilities, like what other models get other abilities. Like we know that one's going to have taking flight. We know there's going to be 2 dirty knives potentially.
I think that stabby guy. What was his name, John? The guy with the 2 like
Rundos?
long daggers? Yeah.
Rundos, I think he's going to come out and just be a melee monster.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to have the dirty knives if I was going to guess.
Yeah, and then that guy in the wingsuit is going to have taking flight.
Probably. Either that. See, that's tough to... You would think that, but that could also just be the bird. Fresley, whatever.
Frelsey.
So what is the captain going to do then?
The captain, we don't know yet. I mean...
Fuck shit up.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, like, I'm looking at the content of the Muse token set. and that's all of the tokens. So like, there's no other. So the captain's not going to have any sustained abilities.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the captain could do something that either helps the team, kind of like Piper, maybe reposition the team, or it could be maybe buff the team up.
I guess the captain could get one of those Harrier AoEs
maybe.
too.
Right. There's one more model that puts out a Harrier AoE.
So
it's probably not. Actually, maybe that would be funny if it was the flying dude. Like he could fly over people and like drop Harriers. That would be awesome.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes out. But I'm definitely excited. I think this will be a really cool guild. I'm excited to play it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be really interesting, flexible, and yeah, I mean, it's just going to be interesting to see how they kind of work with the other models that are coming out. I think Egret's going to work really well with what we're seeing so far with these two models. I don't know if Vet Hearn's going to be great with this yet. I think we got to wait and see kind of what the rest of the guild does, but right now I don't know if Vet Hearn plays well with these other two models.
Yeah, he's not great in melee because he's got the non-momentous 2 on 3 and momentous 3 on 4 with attack 5.
Yeah, the
So, I mean,
only reason
with
I
setup-
bring him is for scoring and for the tackle on 2 and the knockdown on 2. That's really the only reason I bring Vet Hearn, just because he moves a little faster and he can do that.
And again, only 3 influence, so you're not doing a shit ton of damage.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he has Last Light, but I mean, you got to spend 2 momentum to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. Rundas is going to be the one.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I hope if they're going to spoil one model Thursday, I'm hoping it's either going to be him or the flying dude. I'm hoping it's one of those two.
Yeah.
I just want to see them all, so I don't really care which order we go
I
in.
just want to see him so much.
Yeah, I just want to see them.
So excited.
Just feel free to drop one every week until we see them all. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I think that's the plan.
Yep, yep. So I don't care what order it is.
Great idea.
I tell you what, I'm really liking these minor guilds as they're kind of being released. I think the way that they play is just awesome. I think that they're good, but they're not crazy overpowered. Obviously, we can't tell that 100% with the Falconers yet, but yes, they're going to put out a bunch of damage, but they're relatively easy to kill so far from what we've seen with these two models.
Yeah.
Because they have no armor. Like, so far, the two models we've seen, zip.
Yep.
So that's going to be interesting to see if that trait continues or if they're going to switch that up.
The only thing I don't like about this so far is now I'm adding more models to my hunters lineup.
And you're not losing any?
I'm not losing anybody but minks, and I still have to pick 10. Can we expand that, please? Can I have 11? Can I have 12?
I don't think anyone feels bad for you.
No.
You mean you don't have 12 butchers you want to play?
No, I don't. I have
He has 8.
I honestly could just be like, okay, Ox and Filet, and the rest of my models I could just be list locked and play a tournament that way and have the same things happen.
Well,
that's how bad the butchers are right now.
That's how bad they are, huh?
Yep.
Okay. So, if you guys were on Gubs today, the support group, so if you guys were on that, I asked a question where I was like, so with
I thought you were going to bring up something else.
No. So with these 3 models that are getting released, what basically tier does this put the new hunters at? So does this put them in the top tier?
Top tier, nerf them.
Does this put them in the middle tier?
Nerf them.
Or does it put them in the bottom tier? Because some people think that they're in the bottom tier as they sit before they get these new models. So John and I both voted middle tier.
Yeah, because you're sandbagging as all hell.
Chris, you voted top tier.
Yeah, they're clearly going to be a great team. Like it's not debatable, and everyone else sees that too.
Well, see here. So just so people that didn't see it or don't go on there, so 77 votes got that they're going to be top tier, and 37 votes got middle tier, and then 2 votes for bottom tier. So clearly people think that these models coming out are strong, they're good. But I think they're going to be top tier if you're if you play the hunters well, like if you put in the time, if you know how to adjust to certain situations, if you're flexible and react, well in different games, I think you definitely will be top tier with this guild, just because they can do some really creative things. They can do that now, but I think if you're a middle player or a starting player, I think they're in the middle, because they're going to be tough to get to work the way you want them to work. That's kind of why I put more towards middle. Obviously, the top players can take almost any guild and kind of run away with them.
With these two new models, the one thing that the hunters were lacking, obviously they had great control, and obviously there were some scoring options, especially with Scatha. But the thing that they were lacking was really reliable damage output, and those two models fix it.
Well, they had reliable damage output. They didn't have really burst damage. The only burst damage you really saw was with Fahad and the bear if you were going into a snare target. Other than that, it was just this slow bleed kind of consistent damage, and then you finish off the models when they're low. Now you do have that ability to do this burst damage, but I think where the balance comes from is it's like there's a Harrier marker. Okay, I got to get that model out of there. So, you got to do your 4-inch dodge when you pass somebody to get it out of there. If you have a character play that lets somebody jog or move or dodge, whatever, use that to get them out of the marker before the Hunters player or the Falconers can take advantage of what's going on.
I think it's a tough question to answer, because, I mean, I see them as a low floor, high ceiling kind of team. If you talk about just the potential of them, I'll admit they're top tier. I mean,
they're not in the category of guilds that I would recommend to a new player by any means. But at the top end, that's what matters when you're talking about where our guild rates, because that's what we're looking at as it relates to national championships, world championships. You're looking at are the top players going to be able to just run roughshod with a guild because of the components that it has. And just to let you know, I joke about nerfing them. I don't really care about that. I don't think that they're OP as all hell like I did with those farmers last year. But they're clearly going to be strong, especially with good players.
Yeah. I mean, so it's one of those things, and I thought it was funny because some people, and obviously these are people who aren't maybe as competitive or, care that much about the game, but there were some people like, who gives a fuck about tiers and why are we talking about, high level third tier and all this?
Yeah, because there's always going to be people crying on the internet.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, it's an interesting topic to talk about where we think they're going to, land, because for so long, Hunters were at the bottom. They were definitely probably bottom of the tier, and then they've, slowly kind of moved their way up with the adjustment that they made to Theron, and now they're getting tools that are going to make them, pretty damn competitive in my eyes, even though I think they already were, because obviously John and myself, we've done some work with them.
So they were already kind of competitive, and now they're going to be more competitive, and you think they're mid-tier.
Yeah, I think they're high mid-tier. I mean, because if you look at it, the other guilds that I would put above them are like, I'm going to pull up the guilds real quick. I would still put Union ahead of them, because Union are just so flexible. Rage is just kind of this, nice little powerhouse, and, they're good.
And getting better.
And he's getting some other tools, kind of help him get better. I think Fish are still going to be above him. I think Fish, just with Corsair just being solid, Shark doing Shark things, I think they're above them. And then I would put Engineers above them just because of how good they are. And I might even put Masons above them after this comes out. It would be close with Masons. I think they might be tied or maybe a little better than Masons, but it's close, I think. So that's kind of how I would rank them just off the top of my head.
I'm going to be boring and say I completely agree. I think you hit it right on the head.
I mean, who do you think is going to be better than this Hunters guild with these additions?
It would have to be one of the... You'd have to come out with new guilds like the Miner Guild, maybe changes...
You don't think any of the old guilds are going to be better than the Hunters?
No, I mean, I think that there will be ones that are competitive with them. I think that the Engineers will be competitive with them. I think that the Union will be competitive with them. But they're going to be top tier. Like, that's That's why I voted for that the way that I did.
See, but that's what I'm saying is if you have 3 teams or even 4 above them, then they can't be top tier because the amount of guilds we have, 3 or 4 teams that are better than them are going to put them mid tier.
No, I'm saying as good.
Well, we're not talking about equal here. There has to be something that makes the guilds better or worse. You can't be like, oh well, they're all good.
If you say that a guild is in the top 3, is that a top tier guild?
Yeah, probably.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Well, I don't think they're top 3.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. So which ones are above them?
I just already said it. I'm not gonna fucking repeat myself. Listen to what I'm saying. You need to be an active listener on the podcast.
Well,
I feel like you're zoning me out. Like a wife.
Wow.
Anyways, moving on. Doing things. So we've had this topic that we've been talking about like off air where we've been like, what are the best 3 squaddies in the game? And we thought it'd be pretty interesting to kind of debate what squaddies we think are good and which ones we think, aren't, because if one of you guys pick a trash pick, I'm going to let you know about it. So, does anybody want to and like I said from the beginning, best squaddies, obviously that's non-captain, non-mascot, and then on top of that, it's the non-veteran models that are about to come out. So, stuff that's in the game and playable right now. So, do either of you want to volunteer to share your top 3 first?
Got it.
Are we looking at... Okay, so we're just rolling out the top.
Oh yeah, let's just roll all 3. We'll pick apart each other's top 3.
Got you. My top 3. Jakar, Spigot, Hoist.
Okay.
Debate.
Debate. Let's see here. So
I'll agree with Hoist.
So Hoist is your number 1?
I don't. Do we have to rank them?
I mean, I'm gonna rank mine.
Hoist is my number 1.
Ooh.
Well, we're not to yours yet.
Hoist is not my number 1.
Okay, so if you say Jakar's number 1, I'm just gonna kick you right off the podcast.
Just because he's a squaddie that you auto include with the guild you play doesn't mean that he's the best squaddie in the game.
I was actually kind of leaning Spigot, but okay. So I'll say Jakar, just say fuck you.
Well, here's the thing that I think's interesting, and this already goes against the rules that I already set up, but I don't care.
Wow,
so
bullshitter.
The problem is with Jakar is that, yes, right now I think he's like an auto-include in the Hunters, but I think as soon as a lot of these new models get released, he's not, like, you could easily take a list without him, I think.
Okay.
But that's not the rules.
Killing me, Smalls.
So why do you put Jakar first then if you're gonna be a dick about it?
Because you guys are dicks, and he's awesome.
All right, so what makes him so awesome? I mean, we've talked about it before, but maybe for somebody who hasn't listened to those episodes, why do you like Jakar a lot?
Jakar is my number 2 player because he's extremely fast. He can shut down models completely. For example, you take Jakar versus an alchemist player who's playing cat, either cat. You run in, you gut and string them, you drop a trap, you hit them 2 damage, double dodge to get out, then back to the shadows, and cat's whole activation is ruined.
I've done that before. I've done it to Mallet. It's been hilarious.
You can do it to there are many models in the game that cannot do anything around it because you take away 6 inches of their movement, and you end up 7 inches away.
Yeah, the only reason I would not put him in my top 3 though, John, is because if you like get him out of his 1-inch melee, then he can't do all those cool things that you just laid out for us. Like, so if you get pushed 2 inches out, then you're just done with him.
Well, you can do this fun thing. I was playing this Masons player in a tournament final one time, and I walked in, hit Lucky, who Lucky countered me. I bounced out of Lucky, hit Harmony, bounced back into Lucky, finished Lucky off to win the championship there.
You want to know what? Damn your eyes for using my own tactics against me.
Yeah. So, I mean,
So, yeah, that's an option, and I've done that a lot too, but the problem is if you don't have that option, so if you only have the one model you can go into, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, then you do something else, Pete.
Fair enough, John.
Nothing's perfect.
That's true. So, but that's what I'm saying. I agree with you that he's a really good model. Probably one of the reasons why I didn't put him in my 3, though, was because 2 reasons. 1, he's easy to kill. Like, if you can get somebody on him, he is easy to kill. And then 2, that he can get counterattacked with a good counter and waste the rest of his influence.
Right. But momentous damage on just about everything. Momentous 2 and a dodge on 2 is great.
It's good. It's good.
Anatomical, tack 6.
Yep, sexy. I like it.
9-inch charge, double dodge on 3, 6-inch kick. He scores when you need him to score.
Yep, he can put out bleed.
And then he runs, and then he dodges back to the shadows. So you don't have to run away.
How consistent is that 2-6 kick for you though?
I'm gonna do some dice research.
It should be about like 75% consistent.
Yeah, let me do some research on that real quick.
I mean, it worked. He had a really great goal versus Mike in Spring Fling, but I also missed one versus Lon. So
yeah. So does that mean that you put Spigot as your number 1? Is that what you're kind of leaning towards?
I am kind of leaning towards Spigot as my number 1.
Okay.
Because he can deal damage, he can score, he can help speed his team up, he helps his team score. I mean, he does so much for his team and can do so much himself.
I agree. So Chris, what about your top 3?
I like Hoist.
So you said he's your number 1.
Okay, so here's my thought process. When I'm picking the top 3, I'm looking at models that their abilities are such that they would be welcome in any guild.
Okay.
And so, for me, it's less about, like, are you an auto-include in your specific guild, and it's more about, is your card such or your ability such that you're always very useful. So, Hoist would be a pain in the ass to deal with within any guild. Because
replicating any character play.
Exactly, right? And then he's like hard as shit to kill. He's just annoying as can be. I don't know. I've debated whether or not I want to do this in such a way where I look at it as kind of a multi-purpose squaddie and then a scoring squaddie and then a melee squaddie. So after Hoist, it gets a little bit convoluted.
When you say melee, do you mean fighting squaddie, or do you...
No, I mean like one that actually goes into melee as opposed to stays back.
Okay, so you're using the terminology correct then.
Yeah, that's how I always use it.
Not allowed.
Okay, so my number 2 is going to be Ferrite as a squaddie.
That's kind of debatable because she's usually a captain. Are we going to allow that, John?
So you're saying when you take her and she is not a captain?
Yes.
So she is only 3 influence?
Yes.
Okay, you're wrong, but go ahead.
Okay, because she can still use the legendary play. She still puts Hobble out there. She can still buy the acrobatic for 2.
And then you're done because you only have 3 influence.
I've only used 1 influence thus far in what I described.
You're gonna run or charge.
What? Okay, so let's say Hobble out and.
So let's say you run. Okay.
Okay. Either way, let's have you explain why you like her so much as a squaddie.
Okay, so I like that she has a legendary play, which benefits her and others.
Well, no, not if she's a squaddie. If she's a squaddie, it's just her.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're correct. Either way, I like the legendary play. Okay, so she's got that. She's got the 2-inch acrobatic. So you're looking at something that has a threat range of 12. And then a 4-8 kick. So very reasonably, you're able to do things where you go in and peel the ball off with a momentous tackle on 2 and then be able to kick from way out there.
Yeah, and I mean, like John said, I do disagree with her being a squaddie. She's a great captain. If you're using her as a squaddie, Alloy is better than she is.
Oh, yeah, much better. That's exactly where I was going to go.
He's just not going to hold up as well.
He's a 4-1.
She's a 3-2.
He has Back to the Shadows, Dirty Knives.
He can take 4 influence.
Yep. You can give him 2-inch reach. You can give him anatomical, extra kick.
And he always has an 19-inch threat.
Yeah, it's something like that.
She has it once. Like you use her legendary, and then she's done.
If you could give her 4, you might have an argument there. But just the fact that as a squaddie you can only give her 3, I think that really hurts her.
I mean,
I really like that 4-8 kick. So
yeah, that's why you make her your captain. Though.
So the other one that I considered in her place. So if you guys like this and feel more comfortable with it, we'll change it. The other one is velocity.
2 engineers, I love it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it would be velocity or ferrite, depending on
Okay.
how you want. The important thing here is the 4-8 kick.
Yeah, so talk up velocity because I think that's a better pick.
Okay, so velocity is she's got a little bit less total movement because she doesn't have the legendary play by like an inch. She has less movement. She's a lot harder hit, but she's got no armor. And the thing that I really like about her is, 1, the reanimate, 2, the close control. I've already mentioned the 4-8 kick, and then the double dodges. Mm-hmm. So the fact that she overcomes the problem that a lot of 1-inch melee scorers have, where they need to peel the ball off, and then they can't get back out of engagement with like a 2-inch reach model, and she solves that problem.
Yeah.
So, fine. I'll drop ferrite from this, and I'll say velocity is my second one.
Okay, so who's your third then? So you got one more.
I want somebody that's going to be able to like help out everybody else. I'm really inclined toward Mallet.
Klein loves you.
Well, I like that he has that football legend. The extended reach is always useful, and the fact that even on 1 success he's doing momentous things and 2 options of momentous character plays.
Yeah, people forget about the smash shins, but that's fucking brutal on 1.
Yeah, and then he has the characteristic that I kind of liked with Ferrite, where I think he stands up to opponents a little bit better from the standpoint that he's that defense 3, armor 2 type of a model. So yeah, I'll go with hoist, and I'll go with velocity because you guys bitched, and then I'll go with Mallet as my final one.
You mean because we were right?
Fine, whatever, however you want to call it.
All right, John, how do you score that one?
I mean, of course, I like hoist. Hoist is in mine because the versatility of hoist and the survivability of hoist. But I thought about velocity because I think velocity is really good, but I didn't pick any that just do one thing. And velocity does one thing.
Okay.
And in Mallet, I don't know. I like Mallet.
I do. I like Mallet a lot. He was actually almost on my list.
Yeah, I considered Mallet, but I mean, 3-inch melee is always great.
Yeah.
I also considered going with like a Brick or Tater thing, but Tater was kind of out from the standpoint of, can you use them in any guild? And no, you have to use them with the
farmers.
The farmers. And Brick, I didn't decide on him. The thing that was so attractive about both of them, obviously, is the countercharge. But I just felt like you had some more options with Mallet than you did with Brick. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I went in that direction.
All right, so go ahead, John. Yeah, something you want to say?
No, I was just saying, if you take out your whole ferrite mistake, then that's not a bad 3.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what I'm saying.
I'm telling you, ferrite is a
not as a
in the
dude.
fucking ass.
If you bring her as a squaddie, it's not you. She's not as efficient as if she's the captain. But anyways, getting back to it. So here's what I was looking for, guys. When I looked at my top 3, I was thinking, okay, who's kind of useful all around, good player, who's also efficient with, influence, who can do something maybe if I don't give them any influence. So I was looking at stuff like that, where I was looking at who can do stuff with either very little or maybe even no influence, and were they really useful to the guild? And kind of what Chris was saying, could they be useful in other guilds as well? So I actually went with some of the new hotness, and my number 3 was Skulk.
Okay.
And the reason why I went with him is just because he shuts down scorers like hard. And I know that's kind of one-dimensional, but he's also good just at, counterattacking. He has poised, which, is always good. He has, low tackle. He's got momentous dodges. And he's just a decent player to have on your team, especially if you play him in Rats. I mean, he's not bad for Reverie, and he's just an efficient player. He's got 2-inch reach, and I love the follow-up. It's just, I've been playing Rats, and I've really enjoyed him, and I think he's probably the stronger model in that guild, and pretty good for the game, too.
I thought about him earlier in the day, but I didn't pick him, mostly just from the standpoint that I'm not super-duper familiar with playing him, so...
Yeah, so I like him. Did you play when Schlegel played Rats against you? Did he play Skulk, John, or did he leave him?
He did not.
Okay. So
He played the 2 disease models in Vet Graves and left
yeah,
Skulk.
and I think he might have just been like not expecting you to score a lot, so that might have been why he left him. I'm gonna go with another kind of like scoring guy. I mean, I guess Skulk can score, so maybe he's not exactly a scoring guy, but I like Mist a lot. The reason why I picked Mist is because almost every guild that can bring Mist brings Mist a lot. Morticians miss him because obviously he's probably one of their elite scorers. He's just efficient. He's quick. He can boost up his speed by 2. He has acrobatics, 2-inch reach. If you're in cover, it helps him out and makes him better. And he's got a 3-8 kick, which is always useful. High defense, can put 4 influence on him. The dude just is good at scoring.
I've seen that guy miss so many fucking kicks.
Mist was was a close 4. If I was going to do somebody that just does one thing, like scoring, Mist was my go-to.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I picked one that was, kind of like a shutdown, kind of defensive, mostly character. I picked a scorer, and then my last is going to be a jack of all traits that John already shared, which my number 1 is Spigot. So, Spigot, he can just do a butt ton of damage. He raps for days, especially when you got all the buffs up on him. Commanding Aura, if you're knocked down, floored, and he has 3 damage on 4 hits. So, I mean, that's 4 damage in Commanding Aura. 4 damage if Esther's puts, the +1 on him. So, he's just rapping for freaking days. He has Balls Gone, so little tool to get around close control. And he only needs that on 2 hits. And then
I think the Ball's Gone is probably the best reason to consider him.
Yeah. I mean, but then he also has Football Legend, and probably the most important thing he has is Times Called, because Brewers need that extra 2 inches of movement. It helps them get where they need to go. So
I mean, to Chris's point, somebody that would be good in any guild is Spigot.
Yeah, Spigot could be a good player in any guild for sure.
Everybody wants +2/+2.
Oh yeah, I mean +2/+2 floored. He has tooled up, so he can tool somebody else up. Short
Football
play.
Legend.
Oh yeah. So I mean, Spigot's kind of no surprise there to be in anybody's top 3, I think. So yeah, there we have it.
Yep.
You guys were almost right.
We were almost right, except for
You
that
picked fucking Jakar, so don't even start.
Yeah, Jakar is kind of a homer pick for you.
I'll take Jakar.
That's like if I'm like Meat Hook and Shank.
Yeah, you didn't pick any butchers.
Yeah, because they fucking suck.
Whoa.
You guys are wrong.
Easy now.
Wrong. I can't believe you guys.
What?
I'm a non-believer. Shun.
What the hell was that?
Shun the non-believers.
Oh, okay.
And Jakar.
Gotcha.
I mean, I love Jakar. He's always in one of my lists. I mean, I'm definitely bringing
He's
him.
an auto-include for the Hunters.
I'm bringing him over Chaska, for sure.
Ooh, I know some people that I had an argument with that were going to be mad about that.
Yeah, and you were like, Pete, where were you? I needed you.
I did have an argument with 2 guys.
Was I finishing a game? Is that what was going on?
I don't know. You're probably drinking.
That was probably true.
It wasn't. How's that? But they argued with me that Chaska was better than Jakar.
I definitely don't agree with that.
I will tell you this. I played against a player that brought Chaska, and he did bring Yekart as well, but the point was he brought Chaska, and I was just like, hell yes.
Did you kill him?
I'm going to fuck this shit up, and I did.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Chaska is pretty easy to kill. He's a 3-1, and it's like, okay, you're slow. Sure, you boombox. I'll stay away from the edges. Okay.
Well, the key isn't even so much staying away from the edges. It's more just staying to the inside of him. So when you fight him, just make sure that he's not, on the opposite side of the... You don't want to be the model in between. So, yeah, I actually had no problem going into him, and like there was... I think he was keeping him on the side of the board because he was hoping to use something like that, but he kept him around a barrier or an obstruction or something, and I just made sure that I was like always base to base with that, and so there's only so much you can boombox somebody when they're base to base with something like that.
Yeah, so kind of wrapping up the podcast here, there's 2 more things I want to talk about. So one is John, you're a newly, anointed pundit, right? You just got that confirmed. So you're getting in the competitive scene. You want people to be competitive, figure out what the game's all about on tournament scale. But you also want to do some like fun events, and you want to get people interested in the game, and just having fun with some of the fluff and the backstory and stuff. So one thing that we're doing to get our guys interested in kind of resetting the competitive scene, because it's been a grind early this year,
demanding that they paint their models.
Yeah, well, sure. Shunning people if they
also
don't paint.
We try to make as much profit off of our tournaments as possible.
What
the
you didn't know that? Okay, well, you gotta read some of the threads on Gubs. So there were two things that people went ballistic about. One was the idea of painting models.
Okay.
Because some people are so physically disabled that they can't paint their models. That's
why I paint stuff for people, because some people can't paint.
Well, I just love that was the go-to, even though overwhelmingly people can. And then the other one was there was complaints about people running events and then turning a profit, that they're doing these events. I don't know if they're referring to Bill or who, that they're running these big events for profit. And I'm like, I don't know how many events you've ever run, but I've never seen them be some profit centers. No one's quitting their job to.
I'd say those events probably not. I think Bill said actually on our podcast that he actually raised the price because he was spending his own money.
Yeah, he was operating at a loss for years.
And I don't know how Jake did with How's That, but I imagine it was a lot of the same where, he got some people to support the tournament, but I bet he probably put some of his own money into it.
Yeah, well, and all the time and effort and all that stuff. Anyway, I was only bringing that up just to make fun of that whole argument that was broken out, but you guys didn't get it, so I had to explain the inside joke.
Because stuff like that, I try. I'm on Gubs and I'm on Twitter and stuff for our podcast, and a lot of that stuff I try to stay away from because I'm just that's not doing anybody any good. That's just people with just something up their ass.
I made sure not to comment because I didn't want to get scolded by you.
Yeah, that's what usually happens. Chris gets everybody fired up, and I have to deal with it.
I will say though that I think that in these big national tournaments where clearly the people going are experienced players that have put a lot of time into it, having a minimum painting standard I think is reasonable.
Yeah, I mean that's what they do for a lot of things. They do Masters tournaments where it's required that you have painted stuff.
Yeah. But locally, I mean, if you want it to be Thunderdome, go for it.
Well, the problem. So here's the problem.
Get all your noobs in.
If you do it like Chris Schlegel, where you buy the box and you play it that day straight out of the box, if you come across another rat catcher that has exactly the same box unpainted, things could get messed up very quickly.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. But my thing is just I don't think somebody's able to argue that they're not able to put in the time or effort or money to at least have a minimal standard of painting.
Slap 3 colors on it.
Yeah, slap 3 colors on it when they're competing at those types of things. You put a lot into time and money and everything when you're traveling.
Basically, if you have enough time to play, a 4-hour game on Vassal, you could be painting your stuff.
Yeah, you could be painting it while you're playing that fucking game on Vassal.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
where I was going with this is an event that we're going to be running is actually the Rookie League, because we had a bunch of guys order the rookie models. Hopefully they come in sometime relatively soon. I think you're still waiting on yours, aren't you, John?
Yep.
How long ago did you order those?
Before we got released, right after the release.
God damn. Shipping over the Atlantic.
Yeah, why don't they just put it on a Concorde jet and get it over here already?
No, I don't know, you got to put it on the boat.
They could have rowed him over here by now.
Yeah.
That's right, they're gotten that guy on a kayak.
So we're going to do the Rookie League, and it's really interesting. I would recommend anybody that wants to get some interest in, a small group of people that they have, anywhere from small to large. It's a great thing. The cards are fun. It adds a lot of, character to the games. You start off with this little, pissant rookie, and you just see him become a beast or her become a beast. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see who picks which rookie to play with. Which one are you playing, Chris?
Well, I ordered Boiler, but
how many Boiler models do you need?
Well, now I've got 4. So
God, I hate that little
desk player.
I hate Boiler.
I should have picked him as my squaddie.
You might not be wrong. I actually would have thought that'd be a good pick.
No, it would have been a shitty pick.
But
Fuck
anyway,
Boiler.
so
He's terrible.
You're thinking Boiler, but
You hate him from the fluff perspective. I hate that model in game. His abilities fucking suck.
okay. But so if you're not doing Boiler, who are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about doing the Union.
Ah, okay. So you're gonna do Fangtooth.
Yeah,
Fangtooth's fun.
But I'm gonna play him as the as my limited edition, the bunny one.
Oh, so you're gonna do the cosplay card?
Yeah.
That's good.
So
John, would you do Zorola?
No, I'd do something else. I'd probably go. I don't know. I had fun with the Alchemist the other day. I might do Venom.
I'm thinking about doing Salvo.
Salvo looks badass.
Yeah, I like that new sculpt too.
really,
Yeah.
What's the new sculpt?
He's kind of got like he's almost like holding the crossbow, kind of like in a port arms kind of position. I think
Oh, I wasn't blown away.
it's
by
better
it.
than his weird dancing pistol crossbow pose.
Yeah.
And so he looks more like Ballista.
Yeah, so I guess.
Okay.
So yeah, that's going to be a great event. I love the idea that after every game you get to level up whichever part of the card you want. So that's going to be great to see how people level up their characters. Because basically you can either level up your stats and your character plays, or you can level up your traits.
Well, I kind of feel obligated to level up Fangtooth like a fucking bunny now.
Oh, you should.
Yeah, like, I mean...
But that's what I'm saying. You get to pick which side you level up each game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be a ton of fun. We're going to get some cool prize support for it. I think Jacob from the final round, he actually said that the winner and best support are going to get their pick of one of the rookies.
Ooh,
so that's going to be great. So yeah, just doing fun events like that gets people to come out and enjoy this game.
Yeah.
So tournaments are great, but you got to do the fun stuff too.
Yeah.
Fun stuff is what keeps people coming.
Well, especially the average player, the one that doesn't want
Yeah.
to travel and be competitive that way. Yeah.
So John, you did a fun event with that rat catcher one, and generally speaking, did everybody have a ball with that?
Oh, well, yeah, except for me winning, but
Yeah, everybody hated John winning. Apparently, he's just clubbing seals.
hell
Yeah.
no. But
What an a-hole.
You can't let him have one, John.
something funny. You know how much I love painting, right?
Yeah.
I did win best painted.
What?
I was the only one that had a full team painted.
Did you win best goal, too?
There's no best goal in Rat Catcher event.
Yeah. So
Well, that's what you're really proud of.
So everybody else is playing metal and plastic, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Even Chad?
Yeah, because he played rats.
Yeah, so you got him out of the box.
Yeah, but I thought he like usually paint everything up? Isn't he a
Yeah, he's a pretty good painter, but he just hadn't painted him
Watch
yet.
yourself there.
What?
That's the power button.
It was actually
Don't hit that. That'll shut us off.
The fuck are y'all doing?
I didn't come close to touching that. I have my hand
his
on my
leg,
knee.
He's starting to stretch his leg, and I could just see him, hitting the power button and shutting off the whole podcast.
Well,
If
how
his
long
little
have we
leg
been going
way
on
too
this now? So that might be what. No.
Last thing I wanted to say, and this is more kind of news, is they announced the WTC rosters for the Americans that are going to go to Poland and represent in the WTC.
I'm going. No, I'm kidding. I'm not.
Yeah, you're not. You got football. So the ones that were chosen through Longshanks, those were the ones that accepted, that had the best rankings, is Vince Kirchhoff, Mike Klein, and Jared McGraw. And then people that applied and got accepted by the committee were Pat Van Value, Zach Gray, Chris Schlegel. I actually got accepted, so I guess they're accepting anybody.
I guess so.
Jacob Freelinger, we'll say Freelinger, and Frank Kumitis. Unfortunately, because we're getting a kid here over the summer and fall, I'm not going to be able to go to it, so that made me sad.
And wasted that spot for somebody else.
Well, the good news is that there's a couple on the, kind of like backup list, and Alex Potts is one of those backups, so...
How is he on the backup list?
Because he was on the committee, so since he didn't get selected through Longshanks...
I don't think that's the way to do it.
but either way, it ends up working out.
Well, in the sense that, like, you don't... You can do a selection committee that are people that are knowledgeable about Guild Ball that aren't the best people in the country.
Yeah.
So that we have access to the best people in the country.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
But it ends up working out.
Okay.
That's all that matters. So WTC's not till September, so that's going to be fun to see how the United States does. Germany won it last year, so got to see if we can get the Germans back. They got some really good teams over there.
What about a Southeast Southeast Team Championship.
Oh, we are doing a Southern Team Championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know when that. Yeah, John, you got any kind of news on the Southern Team Championship?
I'm working with I'll be working with our boy Lon. We're thinking like July-ish, maybe.
Yeah, because we actually got, like I said, the Baltimore guys are interested. Maybe some of the Virginia guys could come down for that. So we got some interest in that, especially since it's in Raleigh. Hopefully, maybe.
Yeah. So
There are no set details. Don't believe anything we're saying.
Yeah, this is all speculation, pure speculation.
yeah, but we're speculating Lon's gonna run it and put it in Raleigh. That's what I'm speculating.
No pressure, Lon.
We demand it of you, Lon.
Well, it's only because he's so awesome at running events.
He is.
He's a hell of a TO.
Yeah, I mean that one we went up to in Raleigh. It was really good. It was fun. I got sitting over there that awesome plaque for getting 3rd place in it. So it's fun.
Is
Yeah.
Chad gonna be mad that we steal you for Team Rage Quit Wire?
You haven't convinced me yet.
Okay.
I need some dice research.
I told Chris that we're gonna put Joe on our team.
Team RWQ, if you will.
It's gonna be Joe, Chris, and me.
Oh, 2 shakes.
2 shakes, Joe Oliver.
No way. I'm not being on another team with Joe.
I would love
after that
having
Axis
Joe on
and
my
Allies
team.
thing. No way.
Well, fine. You can be teammates.
No,
with
because
somebody
what's
else.
going to happen
I'll
is
take Joe and Jeremy any day.
Fine. Okay. Yeah, have fun with that. My point is, I know what's going to happen if Joe's on my team. It's going to be like, okay, so here's your matchup. Definitely play this captain. Like, that's absolutely the best captain.
And
you can
Joe's gonna play
and
the
Joe's
opposite.
going to be like, I'm just going to play the fucking other one. Why? Because that's just what I'm feeling at the moment.
Does Joe listen to this?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought
he
we talk
does.
about Joe a lot.
That's because Joe is one of the best Guild Ball characters we have in Charleston.
Yeah. Especially with that mustache.
Dude, he's going to get that waxed up. It's going to look really slick.
Like, he should get it waxed off.
You know, he has a laugh to go with it. You know, he can twist it.
Yeah, and then
He
tie some
does.
women to the railroad tracks.
So John, what do you got before we sign off here? Anything?
I don't know.
We're gonna call it a good one.
I think it was a good one. Do we have a rage quit story?
No, but we're not gonna share one.
Why are you so anti rage quit
Why
stories? these
anti-rage
days?
quit? We did like 2 last week.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, we did.
And I did talk about like that Axis and Allies.
Yeah,
thing,
there
which
you go.
was a freak out.
Dude, I swear, Chris was like this close to rage quitting Axis.
Oh, I was so pissed.
Because I was convincing Joe to do things he shouldn't be doing, and Chris is just like, "What? I thought for sure he was heading out the door. I thought he was gone."
Dude, there was one point where Joe and I are sitting there and we're like strategizing how we're gonna take the rest of the turn, and we have all of our ships in the Mediterranean, and I'm like, Joe, do you want to leave all of these here? Because then no one's going to come through here. Like, we're going to win against any ships that could come into this area. And Joe's like, yeah, that sounds like a good plan. We're going to keep them all there. As soon as my turn's over, this fucker
I'm attacking.
decides to move
Austria-Hungary.
his ships out of there. Like, I'm just like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, it was fun.
No, it wasn't.
It was a good time. I had fun.
I felt betrayed.
Next time you feel like Chris getting that rage, hit the record button on the camera.
Yeah, I think we need to.
It's fucking insane.
Hey, you want to know what? You need to come out tomorrow and play Vet Rage.
I might be able to do that. I don't know.
Well, I'm holding you to it. All right, folks. Well, go ahead and
Roll dice.
throw some
Throw
salt.
salt.
We're out.
We're out.
What? No cheeky exit. Soundboard.
My phone died.
The soundboard died.
Yeah.
Used it all up on Hawk Sounds.